Hello, everybody, and welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. Today is Tuesday. Now, the days of the week have no correlation to our schedule because of the ridiculous schedule that we have, but it is Clash of the Correspondents Day today. My name's Suj.
And my name is James.
And James, we have a newbie.
We do, yeah. We have our new guest with us today. We have Aaron Lager, our new Leicester City correspondent, join us. How are you, Aaron?
I'm very well, thanks.
Good
Thanks
Welcome on board.
And we are also joined by Sam, FPL Seagull, our Brighton and Hove Albion correspondent. How are you, Sam?
Very good, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
You're very welcome. If I could start with you first, Sam, you're probably thinking, right, James, why have you got me on now? Timing's not good. But I just knew last week when I messaged you that you were going to do Arsenal over.
Yeah.
So I thought it'd be a good time. That was a big result, wasn't it, Saturday?
And just before you start, Sam, when you speak, if you don't mind showing a bit of humility.
Very important, yeah.
Let rip, Sam. Let go, mate.
There's no gooners here, so go on.
Oh no, that Arsenal game, I haven't stopped smiling since that. It's such a big result. That last 10 minutes, you were hoping for the point. The point would have been enough for me. We were just, I was waiting for that final whistle, and then 95th minute more pay of all people as well after getting a bit of stick throughout the game. That was just such a confidence boost as well ahead of the next few games. That was brilliant.
It's give you a nice little buffer now, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit of breathing space between the teams below. Because
I think you probably openly say yourself that the fixtures you were coming back to did not look kind if you didn't get something at the weekend.
Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of predictions as well before the Arsenal game for the restart to see how it would end up, and a lot of people actually had us going down. We look at our fixtures and it's fair enough, but a lot of teams around us have difficult games. I think Bournemouth have got some tough fixtures as well, and they didn't look great the other day. So definitely a lot more confident now after that performance. Yeah,
a lot of people have been touting that 35 point because what they see as safety this year. It pushes you up to 32, Watford 28, us and Bournemouth 27. I feel like it's going to be a little bit higher, maybe 37. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the magic number at the moment?
Yeah, well, at this time as well, you get some shock results, I think, when you get teams at the bottom fighting and playing against teams with maybe not much to play for. So you'll see some surprise results. But I think one more win for us, maybe a few draws as well. 37, 38, I think will be okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see Villa or Bournemouth getting to 38.
No.
I think you'll be all right. My concern for you, Sam, was you'll know, especially following the game we had back in game week 8, that I've been very impressed with your boys. But then the results in this year was mad. I mean, that's your first win for 6 months, right? Which we know is not real, but it's still a long time to go without winning a game of football. And then before we was restarting last week, looking deeper at your fixtures, and I was like, shit, do you know what? So they are in trouble looking at those fixtures. Because if you don't get results soon and then it just becomes a spiral, suddenly people going, you ain't won for 7 months, etc.
Yeah.
So goes without saying, mate, I was really pleased that you won at the weekend.
Yeah, same here.
Aaron, welcome to Planet FPL, mate.
Well, what do you mean?
Welcome to Planet FPL.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I thought you said what happened.
Oh no!
I heard for a second what happened there as well.
I'm like, why is he ghosting me here? So? Well, we could start with that. What happened in injury time on Saturday? Wow.
Yeah, it's when you get your noses in front as well with like a minute on the clock, you think that you've probably won the game, considering there weren't too many chances in the game. We probably had a couple apiece that on a different day would have gone in, but it was a scrappy game in bits. And yeah, when you get that, I mean, didn't expect that from Chilwell, I must admit. A bit of a screamer, really, but yeah, you just got to defend the corner. It's a bad goal to give away, really, and that would have put us, a good few points ahead of fifth, and now you sort of looking at it and thinking, okay, well, before the Villa game, we were on a bit of a bad run, really. So in the league, anyway. So it would have been a nice way to start everything off, but slightly disappointed. But I think on reflection, it was probably about a fair result, really.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Have you got any concerns of being caught by Chelsea and United at all?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, definitely with how United have seemed to have everybody back fit, and I mean, I watched a bit of the game the other night, and they looked pretty good. I mean, Pogba did well when he came on. If they can get a tune out of him, then they're going to be in with a shot of getting there. But yeah, I mean, I guess as a pessimistic Leicester fan, we have to be careful not getting too carried away. But I mean, we're in a good position, and obviously, if you gave us this at the start of the season, I'd snap both your hands off for it. So we've just got to sort of see it out now a little bit. We're lucky; we've not got many major injuries, so Pereira being out is a big loss. But I think we're okay squad wise. So we just need a little bit of something at the moment. So
that's the last day of the season, isn't it? United, Leicester.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's
So,
hope there's nothing riding on
hope
that,
it doesn't
really.
go down to that.
Yeah.
They might already be 4 points clear of you, mate.
Yeah, maybe.
I doubt it's somehow. I mean, look, win the game. Obviously, I know it's 8 points the difference at the moment for yourselves to United. Win tomorrow, 11 points. That's big when, even if United win again, if you're 8 points difference with 7 games to go, you really should be finishing the job without too much difference. I mean, if the points difference is more than games left, you should feel quite secure at that point. The same would go at the bottom of the table as well. I think, Sam, if you were to go and win tomorrow night, then what does that put you? Sort of 8 points clear, is it?
Yeah. If we won, then we're looking very good.
8 points and a decent goal difference as well compared to...
Our goal difference is very good compared to teams around us. I didn't realise, but...
This is the time of the season where I was looking at Villa, who've got a significantly worse goal difference. So it feels like we've got an extra point potentially with that in mind. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that difference, -7 goal difference is good, that, isn't it? I'd not realised that. I mean, essentially, if you got a draw tomorrow night, that means Bournemouth have got to win 2 more games than you for the remainder of the season. And obviously Villa as well. So I'm not sure. Yeah, Suj just shaking his head. I think that was such a big result on Saturday. Can I ask you, Sam, did you change system in the second half?
We started off with just Morpay up front, and we brought on Connolly, and we went with Connolly and Morpay up front, and that was at 1-0. So as soon as Connolly came on, he wasn't involved that much, but I think just the presence and the pressing of the Arsenal defence caused problems. He got the assist for the winner in the end, but yeah, we went with 2 up front for the last 20 minutes or so, and it worked. I really like that. Yeah.
Where did Solly March play when he came on? Because he came on at half time, right?
Yeah, half time. Yeah, I think he came on left midfield on that left side. I thought he was going to come on at left back for the first 5 minutes. That's where he looked quite defensive, but I think he was left midfield. He got Charlotto was for the Arsenal goal. Charlotto was caught quite far up the pitch, so he came in at left back, and that's what led to Pepe cutting in on his left foot and scoring, because March was a bit out of position. But
yeah, because he can play left mid or left wing back, and I couldn't watch the whole game fully, and I just wondered if you changed system at all, because Arsenal obviously did have chances in the game, and I noticed obviously he was very deep for the goal as well. Charlotto, you mentioned him, was a strange choice, Sam, no?
I don't think many Brighton fans are expecting Charlotto to start. I think we've got at right back, we've got quite a few options. Alzate's injured, so I wasn't expecting him to play. He's recovering from an injury. But I thought Montoya would start. I know it was a bit of a surprise, Charlotto, but so many fixtures in close, in quick succession. So it's not that much of a surprise. I'll be surprised if he starts again on Tuesday, I think. So I think he played quite well.
You'd expect Montoya to come back in, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. But we've got quite good depth, so.
And any concern on Aaron Moy? Because obviously he went off at half time. There was no injury involved or anything, was there?
No injury. he was on a yellow card. Maybe that had something to do with it. But
Okay, because
no, I don't think any injury. Yeah,
we think he's a bloody good player on his day when
he
he turns up. Well, did you nick him for, Sam? 2.5 million or something?
On the cheap, yeah. We got a good deal there.
Really was a steal. I tell you who I thought played well. What I have seen of the game was Bissouma, who is annoying because he gets about the pitch and he does erratic things like shoot from 30 yards now and again. But I always feel you're a little stronger when he plays. Has he sort of nailed down a spot ahead of Dale Stephens now? He seems to be playing less and less.
Yeah, see, I'm not sure nailed, but I've been really impressed. The one game we had as well before the break against Wolves, he got man of the match in that one as well. And I feel like he has matured quite a lot. He do the 30-yard shots and the things you expect from a young midfielder, but he's everywhere. He's tackling. He's so good to watch, and the energy I think is important, especially when you've got like players like Gross and Moy who they get around, but they're not really. You don't expect them to put loads of tackles in and up the pitch. But I was really impressed with Bissouma. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't get booked. I think he gave away about 7 or 8 fouls, but I'm fine with that.
Dark arts, mate. When you're in need, everybody needs a player like that in certain games.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk to me, Aaron. You mentioned obviously Chilwell obviously got a great goal, and we know there's been massive rumours with him since the Burnley game, really, in the winter period. What's your feelings on him? Would you prefer him to go or stay?
It's a difficult one, really. I mean, I'm not a massive fan. I don't know what the split is between Leicester fans and Chilwell. I think it's probably sort of a bit of 50-50. I mean, he's not a bad player. Clearly, I mean, obviously, the likes of Chelsea are sniffing around him. But I feel as if he's got quite a lot to learn still. He's can flatter to deceive quite a bit. But I do think that, ideally, he could probably do with staying another season, but it sounds from some of the reports in the papers and stuff that he's already made his mind up. Yeah.
So. I think one of the things is the ridiculous fee that's been talked about, right? I think I've heard it up as high as 60-70 million pounds. Now, at that price, you're going to want to just say, yeah, fine, let him go, because you're still not financially at the same table as the top 6, let's say. So if somebody's willing to pay 60 or 70 million, that's the kind of money you need to take and you can reinvest elsewhere. So that has a big impact in the attitude of fans towards a certain player as well. Like, take that money and run.
Yeah, I do think there's a lot of sense in that. I mean, we've been very good over the years at investing the money that we have got from players into younger players, and the cycle seems to be quite well at the club, really. I do think that, I mean, we obviously sold Maguire on the eve of the window, which was a bit of a disappointment, but he obviously is clearly not worth 80 million like a lot of players aren't. But I do think that if we got 80 million for Chilwell, I think it's even more daylight robbery than the Maguire deal, personally. Yeah. But it's the market these days. It's mental, isn't it?
How do you think that Leicester will cope with the lack of stadium? And one of the things we talked about in the main pod is how teams seem to be sitting in quite deep, not really attacking with a lot of aggression. Not only that, I mean, James mentioned it as well this week, with 28, 29, 30 degree coming in for a little period. And Vardy's that in behind ball is the one that's devastating so often. That's not going to be there as much as what our kind of take is.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. I do think that the stadium has a big, the atmosphere can get really good down the King Power, and it does drive the team on sometimes. But I do think in the weeks leading up to the Villa game, the crowd was just getting on the back a little bit of the players. So maybe it might be the bit of respite that they need just to sort of refocus. But I mean, we do quite well with the ball anyway as a team. We tend to we are looking for that out ball with Vardy, but it just seems like there's something missing with us sort of between Vardy in the midfield at the moment. Like, Maddison's a very good player, clearly on the ball, but it's just he's the guy that really should be looking for that killer pass, and I don't see it enough from him personally. And I mean, Tielemans is another one. He started really well. I mean, obviously signed him in the on loan last year, and he came in and did great for us. But again, he's really struggled of late for form. So it's be interesting to see how it goes with the no crowd there. But because it's such a tight knit sort of stadium, but we'll have to see how it plays out. But hope we can live in hope that we can get a few decent home results, I suppose.
Maddison, 1 attacking return in 14.
I know.
It's very difficult, and we always say try not to look backwards because of the new circumstance and stuff, but it starts playing, doesn't it? I mean, the one goal in there, it was a screamer he got at Newcastle over the Christmas period, but that's it since the big win at Villa, and that seems remarkable. And Vardy's returns, bar that Villa game, obviously he'd had injuries in that as well, has also very much calmed down. But one team who Vardy does normally perform against well, Sam, is your own, I think. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think that's fair. We never really do that well against Leicester, so I'm not looking forward to tomorrow that much. But
do you think there's a reason behind that? Is it the pacing behind? Because it feels like certainly the last 2 at the Amex, you've got counter-attacked quite badly, I think.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, it's the pace at the back. We don't really have the fastest defence. I think any defence will struggle against a Vardy, He is something different, and it's the counter-attack, I think, when we played him like the last few times, that's been the problem. Yeah, definitely.
I just think with them, like we were speaking about on the main pod, Suj, that teams aren't going to allow that space in behind.
It's not going to exist.
But then kind of as Aaron's put it there, it's up to the link player then. It's Maddison. It's on Maddison to then still be able to be creative for him, etc.
Someone needs to unlock defences, and teams that have that player that can do that will do particularly well, like a Bruno Fernandes or was showing for United. But Maddison definitely has the ability to. There's no doubt about that. He's a very, very good, talented, skillful player. You just want that performance from him. And I agree with you, Aaron, in that he just needs to step up a little bit more. He's not quite delivered on his promise, I think. And for a long period at the start of the season, when we talked about it on the main podcast, both James and I were just going back this season. I don't see myself going back to him, which is a shame because he's priced so well in FPL as well.
Yeah, he is. He's a lovely player to watch, but his end product is a little bit lacking sometimes. I mean, he's on all the corners, he's on all the set pieces, and I mean, you said it there, James. One attacking return in 14 games. It's not really good enough.
No.
He's one of those players for me that he likes the ball at his feet, but he likes it in comfortable areas. He should go and sort of try and find little pockets between the defence and midfield further up the pitch, rather than sort of sitting deep and just going looking for the ball and spraying it about. At times, I think he thinks he's better than he is. And I don't like knocking our own players, but he does. You're right, Suj. He does need to step up a little bit, and there's a lot on him to. He needs to book his ideas up a little bit, I think.
He's got a certain amount of arrogance, and I think that's okay because he believes in his ability. I mean, his set piece taking corner-wise is right up there with anything else in the league. It really delivers with such pace. But then to refer back to Brighton again, he's probably one of your strengths, Sam. I was looking at it at the weekend and thinking you're going to score from one of these set pieces when you kept getting corners and that, because those 3 that come up from the back are such units. And actually, it might be a feature of this game, because if you think of Evans and Siunku, they're not the biggest pairing at the back. Pereira's not bad in the air and is obviously missing. Now you've got a back 4 that's not the biggest. And I think actually, if you can probably avoid Ndidi on set pieces, you might actually have some joy, mate.
Yeah, that's a good point. We got Gross on set pieces, which is brilliant. You got Burn, Dunk. I think that's one of the things that Houghton's left behind, that set piece that we always look dangerous from corners, especially. So yeah, we could hopefully make the most of that tomorrow. Yeah.
If you were free
Interesting to
hitting,
see.
go on, Suj, sorry.
I was going to say, it'll be interesting to see how Brighton approach the game now that you've got that win with Arsenal behind you. I kind of almost feel like, for another club in the relegation zone, what I don't like is seeing my club play with fear. And we so often go onto the pitch with fear because we know as soon as something goes wrong, it's all going to unravel. You've now picked up 3 points that were literally, they weren't in the plan that you were to get those points. So now, the next game, take it as a free hit and just attack rather than, again, be defensive and play with fear, because you've picked up the 3 bonus points that weren't on the cards anyway. And I want to see, I'd like to see Brighton approach the game and think, you know what, we've got those 3. If we go for it and we pick up another 3, then we're as good as done, kind of thing. And that would be nice to see.
Yeah, definitely. I think Potter is probably more likely to go for it than sit back and just hold out for a draw. So I'm not sure we'll change it that much, but definitely gives us confidence that game against Arsenal, and also Watford's point against Leicester. I don't think we could definitely get something from the game, I think. Yeah.
Last 3 away games drawn, includes draws at Wolves and Sheffield United. On paper, it looks like a banker home win, really, but I'm not so convinced, actually, when you factor in what I've said about the set pieces and that as well. I mean, if Brighton are sensible and they can avoid getting done where Leicester always seem to do them, is on the counter-attack, and just sit a few yards a little bit deeper and block Maddison in the pockets, which might even mean that you might play, say, Stevens with Basuma, for example, then I think Brighton can have some success here. I mean, you played well at Wolves, for example, didn't you, Sam?
Yeah, we did well against Wolves, yeah.
You have done twice this year, actually. If you were free hitting this week, Aaron, how many Leicester players would be in it?
I'd probably have 1.
Which would be?
Vardy.
Interesting.
And that's who I've got in my free hit team, actually.
Right, there you go. So you're free hitting this week?
I am free hitting, yeah, because I was one of those that I wildcarded on 29 just before lockdown, which I'm obviously in hindsight, I know would have been great to have had that in the pocket. And plus the wild card was a disaster because you do that thing, don't you, going back and looking at the team that you would have had, and it cost me about 40 points. So yeah, it wasn't great. But yeah, no, Vardy's the one I'm sort of got my eye on. I mean, Barnes is the other one that I could put in there, but I just think there's slightly better at that price at the moment, and I do think that he may get dropped tomorrow. So
he picked up a knock, didn't he?
We don't know at the time of recording if he's fit or not. I mean, if he was ruled out, I think Damari Gray at 5 million could be quite interesting as a 1 week punt. You got no thoughts for Sionku or Justin, though, haven't you?
Yeah, well, Sionku's one of those that, if he will play every week. It just worries me going forward with clean sheets with us, because I think Justin is an option as well, but are they better at that price point? You've got to play him every week really at 4.7, aren't you? Really, he could go on the bench. Depends what your team value's like, but he looked good at the weekend, and I'm not putting anyone off him because he's done well when he's played, but he's only played a handful of games. The good thing with him is that he's going to play because Pereira's out. We've not really got anyone else that can really play at right back. You're really going into the depth of the squad there for someone to play there. So, but yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with Sionku really. He's good in Sky. He's good in Sky. He's in my Sky team.
He's in everybody's Sky team,
right? Yeah, because he's cheap.
It's interesting, Aaron, just looking back, since you two played each other in game week 13, only 3 clean sheets for Leicester, actually, which feels surprising.
Yeah, considering how many we were keeping at one point, it does seem like they have dried up a little bit. And it's not even... It's silly goals that were given away. It's goals that we shouldn't, or we wouldn't have been at the start of the season. So, I guess in some sense, when you get into the Champions League places and then you've got a bit of a cushion, because they've been so good for so long, maybe you have a bit of a dip and not let you take the foot off the gas a little bit, but because you're in a comfortable little spot, maybe you don't go into games with the same intensity as that you had. So we shall see. But yeah, Var is the only one I would say is worth going at the moment, personally.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth saying during that spell, indeed, he's basically missed 6 of those games, and I think he's obviously integral to you defensively. I really, really rate him so highly, indeed. I think he can go on and play at a seriously high level. I think there's a lot of top clubs with respect bigger than yourself and missing a trick and not asking questions about him, because I think he's good enough to sit behind some serious playmakers and do the stuff that people don't pick up and praise as such.
Yeah.
So I think now that he's obviously fully fit, that's got to be a big bonus. I mean, you could look at it and say he played against Villa, won 4-0. He's played at the weekend and you've conceded a late silly goal from a set piece. So you could even make a case that it's already had a little bit of an impact from a defensive position. So it might sound like a silly question, Aaron, but just listening to you there talking about perhaps they might have taken their foot off a bit. Are you happy with the manager? I realise that probably sounds a ridiculous question, but...
Yeah, completely. Yeah, I mean, he's done a great job. I mean, if we're third in the league, what's not to like about that really at the moment? We've had a great season. You know, I think that, and if any Leicester fan at the start of the season, if you said to him, you know, we'll be third by, 8 games to go or whatever it is, then you'd have laughed in their face really, I think, comfortably as well. So yeah, but there's no thingy on the manager at all. I think he's done a great job, and I think if he has another season like we've had this year, next season, then big clubs will be sniffing around him again. I would think. Well,
that's part why I mention it, because there are some sizable jobs who, in a year or two, might well come up. There was obviously quite a bit of a link with Arsenal before Arteta got the job as well. It felt like it was too early to move, but I have to say, the football I watch at Spurs compared to the football when you play well, mate. I mean, I wouldn't moan if he ended up down at Spurs.
No, and I think he'd be a good fit for you guys down there, because he likes.
Where do I sign, mate?
I know, I do feel for you, mate.
So do I.
Mourinho. He's a busted flush now, isn't he? I can't see. I don't understand why he keeps getting these big jobs.
I don't know about busted flush. Something else to do with the toilet that James would use to describe Mourinho.
Yeah, it's more than a number one. Your manager, toilet. Sam. Yeah, your manager, Sam.
A special one.
Special at what? Your manager, Sam's doing really well as well. I think. I certainly, as you know, I've really enjoyed watching you this year. How good is he? Or because I've spoken to a few other Brighton fans who seem not convinced, and I think that's because of the change of style.
Yeah, I like him. I think if we can stay up this year, I think next season with a summer to work with the players and actually bring in his system, I think it could work. I'm really enjoying it. It's been frustrating at times when we have all the possession and the chances and we don't get the win, but hopefully after this win against Arsenal, we can actually kick on now. I am happy. I think also you always find yourself comparing it with Houghton last season and comparing it with points and styles, and they're so different. But I'm happy with how we're going so far, yeah.
I feel like if you get out of it this year, then next year you can build on it. We get out of it this year, it's same shit, different day. Do you know what I mean? Next year, whereas with you guys, you have an identity that you can build on top of, rather than we've just managed to get out of it. Let's rebuild and restructure it. It's not. It's just on top of what we have. Keep the philosophy, and eventually the points will match. Play.
Yeah. I think everything we do, there's always a long-term plan on the pitch. I mean, Morpay and Connolly, the two that combined for that goal, were young as well. They're going to be here. They're going to be around for a while. We've got a good setup here. Yeah, if we can just stay up this season, we can push on. Yeah, I'm hopeful of that anyway.
Morpay's had a lot of criticism, I think, particularly in FPL Twitter. But 9 goals is all right for a first Premier League season. Like, it's not bad.
Yeah, he does get criticism, but I'm a big fan of his because we've had strikers like it before, especially they got a bit of criticism. Ashley Barnes is one of them that got a lot of criticism from our fans, but he always gave 100%. It's the same with Morpay. He never stops working, and I'm glad he got that goal. His reward, not just a pat on the back at the end. He actually got his goal, and yeah, maybe from fantasy football, it's 9 goals is all right, yeah, and he does miss chances here and there, but I'm happy with Morpay. Yeah, I'm a big fan of his.
Mind you, Suj, 22% of them are against Arsenal, so I mean,
yeah,
18%. But make
whatever the
make of it.
is.
Yeah,
Enough.
make of it what you will. Can we consider him though, Sam? Because I feel like one of the things we might see in the next few weeks is this kind of Twitter template, I think, potentially of forwards that are roundabouts and just above his value, sort of in between his price and Jimenez, for example.
Yeah.
Can he be considered against, say, a Calvert-Lewin, for example?
It's the fixtures. I from my bias, Brighton fan perspective, I'd probably consider him, but he's probably the most nailed on forward. And especially you look at our last 3 games. I think we got Southampton, Newcastle, and Burnley. I think the chances are that those 3 teams will have nothing to play for come the end of the season. So maybe towards the end you could look at Morpay. Yeah, probably not yet though for me.
Be honest, Sam. Are you looking at him?
Nah, not at the minute. No, maybe in the future.
I'm looking at this bench boost team of yours, and I don't see any Brighton players in it. Not that I would have expected it in the week just gone.
Yeah.
But what's your FPL plans next?
I'm free hitting next game week as well.
How many Brighton players?
0.
How many Leicester players?
I think Vardy at the minute. Yeah. The boring option.
They're both going Vardy.
Vardy. I've got Vardy in my. I've been re-inherited my regular squad, and I've still got Vardy in there, and so I'm fine with him for this week against Brighton. But Aaron, I think for me, the financial move across sideways to Rashford after this week, it seems very straightforward. And if teams do sit in deep again across the board, like we've seen in the first set of fixtures, I think that sideways move to Rashford away from Vardy is going to be very much on my mind. Yeah,
it's a good shout.
Right.
I'm looking at Rashford as well. I mean, the fact that I am free hitting has given me the chance to put Vardy in there.
Yeah.
And then obviously the thing is with Vardy is that he's going to play. He's on penalties.
Penalties is going to say, yeah.
He's going for the boot. So we've got something to play for. So I think that could obviously play in his favour, but we need to see a bit more from us first, because if we don't look like we're going to be breaking teams down, then you can't be relying on a penalty from him really. So, but no, Rashford looks good. The fact that he played a lot of the minutes the other night, I think says a lot that he's back. He was on fire before he got injured, wasn't he? Really, and he's a good price point as well. So, but yeah, I'm kind of glad in a sense. Like I am free hitting this week. Like I can sort of put Vardy in there, have a go. If it doesn't work out and we don't look the best, then he was one of those that I had, and then sold him on wildcard because obviously I got the news that he wasn't starting, which obviously in hindsight looks a bad decision. But I think I'd held him for so long and it was just so painful. He had to go. So at least that has kind of, because I think if I hadn't have wildcard, I probably would have kept him because of the amount of value I'd still had in him. And I know value doesn't mean anything at this point of the season now, but it would have been a bit of a difficult call whether to get rid or not. So I've been left with that decision really. But yeah, we'll see. I guess
he became a difficult sell, didn't he, Vardy? Because of that. Knowing, I think it was always the Norwich Villa games, and it was like I'm holding on. I'm a million up on him. Oh my God, it's Norwich and Villa coming up in the next. I can't get rid of him. I'm going to want it back and be wasting 0.5 to do so.
Yeah.
Once I caught wind he wasn't playing against Norwich, I was throw him out, get rid. And then I think you did you do it before the Villa game? Did you?
Yeah.
Which was probably was even worse, wasn't it? But then it's starting. You've done the right thing if you didn't think he was going to play, mate. So
it was either to keep him on the bench or I was on wildcard, so punt on Aubameyang with 2 games. So it was a bit of in hindsight, it wasn't a good decision, but it just seemed like a no-brainer at the time.
It's the right one at the time. And I think that's been the way with a lot of decisions at the moment. When you analyze it with your head, a lot of people as experienced managers are making the right decisions. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, and I had Barnes in my team before that game as well, and I sold him on wildcard.
All right, okay.
Wow.
Some decisions don't keep you in the bollocks, basically.
I know. Tell me about it.
Dear.
I wouldn't even say either of them were particularly bad decisions because both of them could have not played. I mean, Vardy obviously didn't play, has come on and returns twice.
Yeah.
So I guess, Aaron, you're going to go back with no Leicester players following this game week.
Yeah. I guess it depends on how we perform against Brighton. And I mean, Brighton are going to be no pushovers. They're a good side. You've been talking about them a lot this season. It would have been a shame if it had gone down because they have played some good football this year. So, and I think we'll actually find them quite difficult to break down because they play it's like a 3 at the back. Am I right there, Sam?
Mix it up. But yeah, we got 3 centre-backs. We do play 3 centre-backs, but 4 at the back usually. It's been a 4 most commonly, I would say.
Very much started a 3, but it's been more commonly a 4 since the autumn time.
Yeah, but you play it out nicely from the back. And we've struggled with, at the Villa semi-final at home, first leg, they sort of, bank of 5, just sat in deep, and we couldn't break them down. So if you do that against us, it could be a tricky game, I think, tomorrow. So,
what's your thoughts on the score, Aaron? Stick a flag in the ground.
Yeah, I've got a feeling we'll win, but I don't think it'll be an easy game. I think it'll be tight, like most of the games have been so far. Maybe we'll shade it by a goal, 2-1 maybe. I can't see us keeping a clean sheet at the moment. I don't know why.
Interesting.
Are you going with hope, Sam, of a victory, or you take a point right now?
Yeah, I would happily take a point. Maybe a 1-1. I think it'll be close. I do think it'll be a good game. Yeah, hopefully a few goals, but I would take a point definitely.
Yeah, I'm with. I could make an argument for both of your scores. I think because I'm Jamie Vardy, I'm going to say 2-1 to Leicester. Because I want the returns, but I could easily see a 1-1 draw. And I think if you guys come off with 4 points out of Leicester and Arsenal, you're going to be laughing all the way to the bank there. James, what are you thinking?
I think Sam will take another 8-1 points, by the way. We'll probably do him and just get into next season.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you'd have asked me before the weekend, I would have said Leicester comfortably. Just thinking about what we're seeing in terms of football at the moment, the potential heat conditions, and Brighton potentially having a strong advantage with the set pieces, that they could nick it. But I go with Aaron. I think 2-1 Leicester sounds about right to me. But I genuinely, if Brighton got something, it wouldn't massively surprise me because I think they're capable, and I think between now and the end of the season, they will surprise one of these bigger sides that they've still got to play. They will surprise at least one of them.
Definitely. Boys, thank you for joining us on Clash of the Correspondents. Always, as ever, it's an interesting chat to get an insight into clubs that we don't maybe watch as regularly from people that do watch them as regularly and know the insides and outs of the players and the formations and what have you, as well as a bit of FPL insight into there as well. So, Aaron, again, welcome on board. Sam, thank you for joining us again.
Thank you.
Bloody good FPL ranks, these two as well. Aaron, do you want to tell everyone your FPL rank at the moment?
I wrote it down because I didn't have it off the top of my head. About 60k.
You are just inside 60k. And Sam, yourself?
I think I'm around 40,000, around that, 49, 45.
You're a dark horse, you are. I don't know how you're so good at this shit. Did you finish last year?
Lucky. Oh, I can't remember. I'm always around that. that number? 30,000? I don't know.
Yeah, don't be modest, mate. You had a very good rank last year.
Five digits. Anyone with less than 6 digits in their ranks doing
All
well.
I'm saying is they both got very good ranks, and they're both saying get Vardy. That's probably the clincher.
There we go.
Yeah.
James, why don't you let the listeners know what else they've got for the rest of this week coming at them?
We'll have Sky tomorrow. We'll be focusing very much on the Wednesday night fixtures and the fixtures for the 7 days following that as well. Looking ahead to, we obviously know the fixtures as well up until the end of game week 35. And I've managed to work out the Tuesday fixtures in game week 36 as well, because there's only 2 possibilities, one of which is West Ham, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. Thursday, I'll be doing my Ask James stream. Would you normally do that on a Friday, but we're going to do it Thursday this week. So me and you, Suj, can do main podcast review game week 31 on Friday.
Sounds amazing. If you are listening to the show and you want to get even more content from us, then just so you know, put on top of the 5 free podcasts that we do every week, we do a Patreon podcast every single day, pretty much. So head over to patreon.com/Planet FPL to learn more about that. And on top of that, wherever you're listening to the podcast, whether it's iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, make sure you subscribe so that you get notified as soon as we put the podcasts out. If you're an audio listener and you want to see our faces as well as Sam and Aaron, then you can find us on YouTube as well. So you can hit subscribe and the notification.
Now we have to guess if he's still there or not.
Did the connection go?
Listen, I mean, I'm sure it'll come out great in the audio once I cut it, but on YouTube, no one's got a clue, mate. All they'll see is us 3 lemons just going.
What you missed there was me telling everybody to head over to YouTube to look at our faces. There we go. Guys, as always, make sure you stay safe. Gents, thanks for joining us, and ciao.
Thanks.
Thanks, lads. Good luck on Tuesday night. Cue music, please, man, child.